but it's my approach, because the way I say it can be like a life or death, situation.
How they
You would
receive it is very
exactly,
important.
and so you didn't really digest what he said because the terminology that he used, daddy issues, because it's more to it than just having a lack of not having a male figure. You had your father there. It was because your father left you at a time where you started dating men and you were inexperienced in that area. So when you start dating, you are going to look for several things. The man is genuinely going to be like how your father was, whether he was there or not, because that was the first man that was supposed to have showed you love. Whatever authoritative male figure that you had around you. Like I said, whether it was one there or not, that's what you're going to gravitate to. And also, you're going to want and have the desire of things that you see other people that's around you that they have that you're not getting, and lack thereof. So, with that being said, it's and also you have to include the environmental factors, things that you see, that's going on in your community, how you look at male figures, what experiences you've had with males. So all of those things, are a combination of why you made the decisions that you made, and don't beat yourself up or feel a certain type of way or be disappointed in yourself and harp on it and dwell on those negative things, because I heard you mention many positive things, like you said. At least you didn't a child, you didn't have to bear a child without it. At least you didn't get any STDs. At least you still had your health and strength. At least you still had your family to be supportive and lean on. I mean, at least you're not dead, or you didn't get injured, physically, where you was abused, where you can't see anymore or anything. So you have to, try to focus on those things. But at least I like to call these lessons bout lessons, because you actually had to experience. You didn't go off of what someone told you. You had hands on, so you got your fingers dirty. So you know that, hey, when you see these signs, or you see these things that's happening in the relationships that you develop, okay, you have a better outlook, and you know that, hey, this is not what I want to experience, and this is not something I want to go through. And the reason how I know you've grown, because your demeanor and your perspective changed tremendously from the last time. At first you was, focusing, okay, yeah, this is what I want, and I'm gonna make this person be who I want them to be. Now you're saying that, hey, I've accepted that this is how you want to be, and I know that this is how I want you to be, but yet I'm content and I'm happy with those decisions, and I'm not gonna let you or no one, make these decisions for me, or you try to make me feel a certain type of way because of the way that I ultimately feel. So I mean, there's a lot of change and growth in that. So you can't, worry about that. And then if a person does tell you certain things, whether you feel like they friendship hold value or not, what they say is not necessarily who you are, because it's their perception of how they perceive you. And if those people are giving you a negative connotation, or they have their delivery is unpleasant, at the end of the day, you the one make that decision. You have to teach people how to treat you, because if you don't let a person know where your grounds are, what you will and will not tolerate, then they will ultimately take advantage of you, because you're not letting them know, hey, this is inappropriate. If you don't stop these behaviors, then therefore I'm gonna have to,
Yeah.
end our friendship or whatever type of relationship, that we have. So, you know, it looks like you said, you pretty much had the, answers to your own, problems or whatever, as far as, you know, like you stated earlier, finding out who you are, you finding out who they are, but you also, seeing the person who you are, you know, because you're taking time, you're analyzing, the situations that's before you, and you're taking it for what it is. You're not trying to make it more or less than what it is, and you are demanding your respect, so, and I do, commend that. And then you also, are not, just taking everything that someone says. You're not taking it lightly. You're examining. You're saying like, okay, this is what I'm going to put up with. This is what I'm not going to put up with. So, I really do, commend that. But I just have another question. I mean, what is it that you wanted from these relationships, these three relationships that you discussed with the older officer, the younger officer, and this last gentleman? Are you trying to see, should you just be by yourself for a while? I mean, what is it that you really were trying to get clarification from me for?
Well, I definitely know now that I want to be single until I get my degree. I'm super close.
Okay.
I always
Good,
deviate
good,
from
yes.
being focused when I am in a relationship, and I can't. When I actually am into somebody, I can't do anything. Like I'm fully nurturing. I'm fully loving. I'm fully everything. And from the older gentleman, I think that he liked that about me. I just didn't want that from him. He was
Okay.
too old. He wasn't attractive.
Mm-hmm.
He was inappropriate. If he's gonna cheat on his wife through their whole relationship, what makes me think I'm special? Number two,
Absolutely.
the cop, he's a really good friend. Like, even when I was going back and forth with him, like, you're a liar and I hate you and I can't believe you lied about this and I gave my body to you, he was still respectful. He still didn't curse at me. He didn't, call me anything out of my name.
Yes,
He
and
just
I
kind
did
of rolled
notice
through the
that.
punches.
Yeah. And I respected that, and that lets you know that he does, value you as an individual, because things could have gotten very nasty and ugly. So you can tell that he's, mature too, and he knows that what he did to you and what you shared. He knows, because he's a police officer, so he understands human behavior very well on a whole totally different level. So that's good. So again, what is it
that I want from him?
No. What is it that you want? What did you want a clarification on? Because at the beginning of the session, you said that you were trying to, see what was going on with these different relationships. So we discussed 3 relationships, and you basically had the answers to what you wanted out of each one of them. Your mind is already made up.
I have a question.
Okay,
so with the last dude saying, I don't like this about you, this, that, and the other, it made me feel really bad, because I'm like, is it true? Like, am I really that kind of person? Like, when I talk to you about my mom and the decisions she's allowing and the way she's going about things, and then my brother turns around and all of that, am I really judgmental when I'm talking of the things that they do? Like, I could just be like, oh, I don't have a car. You could be like, why? And I'm like, because my mom gave both her vehicles back because my brother kept taking them. I don't want to seem like I'm judging my mom. And after I had this conversation with him, I told him, I was like, you didn't even ask for more information to draw that conclusion. So why would you just throw that on me? And he's like, I didn't mean it in a negative way. I'm like, what did you mean it to be positive? So I asked my mom, I'm like, do you think I judge you for the decisions you make that we both know are different? And she's like, yes, I think you judge me all day long. I was like, oh, that is, it turned off. And I was like, I think if you were gonna say I'm judgmental, you have to be judgmental too, because every time I choose a dude, you analyze him straight down, and you say no, and I do what I want to do, and I later find out you were right. So, I mean, I don't think I'm being judgmental. I'm just trying to tell you what you like. Okay, don't do the same thing over and over again with Joshua, because it's gonna be the same result. You can't keep going in circles and expect the same thing not to happen. So, and with Joshua, he's my brother. No matter how much I feel negatively about him, how much we disagree or fight, how much he talks down to me and me to him in retaliation, I still love him. It still hurts me that we can't have a solid way of communicating and continuous respect for one another because of how things just end up. And I'm like, is it true that I'm judgmental and I'm bringing all these things onto myself? Second,
okay, let me answer that. Okay, as far as being judgmental, we will naturally have an opinion or feel a certain type of way about certain situations and circumstances, and that comes to what we feel like struck a nerve, or what we feel like is inappropriate, or what we lean towards based on several factors. What's going on at that time of day? I mean, what just happened to you earlier that day, what you're going through, period. So, but as far as your mother and your brother is concerned, you're just stating facts. I mean, it's factual information. That's the reason why she got rid of her car. She said it. And also, it was implied because he kept taking her car. She didn't know where it was. He was using all her gas. He wasn't. So, it was a combination of things. You stated facts. Some people, they're going to feel like you judging them because reality hasn't set in, and they know for a fact that the information that you're stating to them has value. She knows that in order for change to happen, one or two things has to happen. For number one, the person has to admit that there needs to be a change. Number two, they need to know that, they have to be willing to change. They can know that they need to change, and they can be just content with that decision. But until they say, okay, I want to change, and not just that, we have to go a little further. They have to be willing to make the transition and the steps in order to change. And you are absolutely right. You can't do the same thing and expect different results, because it's not going to happen until you make that change, some form of change, whether you doing handling the procedure different or you removing something has to happen. But you can't,
on your side,
sometimes it has to be on both parties, because it could be a communication where you give a little bit and I give a little bit, and that with us giving from each other, a little bit giving and taking from each other, the change has been acclimated, But those 3 steps that I previously mentioned has to happen before the change can actually occur. And so, also, don't beat yourself up or let someone hold that much power, because I could see if, every time somebody did something, you had something to say, or you were like, oh, I don't see how you put up with this. That couldn't be me. You're not making those allegations or comments. You're actually stating facts based on your mother is